Hey everyone, hello from Portland. That's right, I am out of town this weekend, which is one reason why this video is a little late. I apologize, but this is going to be super fun, very simple. I've got a couple of the other leaders making sure we'll have all the materials there and someone to get things started. So I just want to walk through what the Zion's Camp game is. So you'll have a few things. You'll have a packet that will have instructions for the game. There will be cards that all the youth will get, and these little things, this is just cardboard I ripped up. Whatever they're called hardship tokens, but whatever ends up being used in class, I'll show you how these work. So when you go to play the game, this first page is the instructions. So it's got everything that I'm going to talk about in the video, just as a reminder of how the game works and what you should be doing to play the game. So this will be provided. So instead of just reading these to you, let's walk through how this is going to work. So first thing that you will do is have this game intro. Really what it is, you got 4 paragraphs. Have the youth take turns reading these paragraphs. They're just setting up why Zion's Camp was needed. What's the background? What was the history? It references a couple of the Doctrine and Covenants sections where Joseph Smith got the revelation about Zion's Camp. So read this together as a group. I'm anticipating small groups, 4 to 5 youth per group. So go ahead and read through those together so that everyone gets that background of Zion's Camp. Then you get to start to play the game. This page is for you, the leader. So there's 2 pages. They're all numbered. The March of Zion's Camp. This is sequential. It starts from, basically May 9th when they left. There's 22 experiences here. So this is your paper. The youth are going to get 2 cards each. So each youth gets 2 cards. 1 card that says complain, 1 card that says commit. Okay, so each youth gets one of these cards, and then you get this paper. How the gameplay goes is you read one of the experiences. So you start at number 1, but you read these experiences. So this first one, leaders of the church are recruiting for volunteers and donations for the march to restore the saints in Jackson County, Missouri to their homes. 1 hardship token for donating your last $5. Okay, so you read the experience, and then the youth look at their cards, and they're going to choose either complain or commit to that particular experience. Now, they're going to choose one, but they don't show anybody. So they're going to choose the one that they're going to do. They're going to put it face down in front of them so that no one else knows which card they chose. Then when you, the game leader, says, ready or whatever, then have all the youth flip over their card and see what and then see what all the youth have chosen, either commit or complain. This is where the fun part begins. If all the youth choose commit, then no one gets a hardship token, right? So on the paper, it says for this experience, there was 1 hardship token. So you've got all the hardship tokens to be distributed. If all the youth choose commit, no one gets a hardship token. Now, if all the youth choose complain, on the other hand, it's double hardship tokens. So everyone would get 2 hardship tokens because, again, this one said 1, right? So they would get double. So there you go. If everybody's commit, no hardship tokens. If everybody's complain, double hardship tokens for each player. Now, if you've got a mix, so if you've got some youth chose complain, some youth chose commit, then what happens is, this is where it gets really interesting, is that those hardship tokens go to the players that chose commit. So however many you have in the group, you distribute the hardship tokens among the players that chose commit. The players that chose complain don't get any hardship tokens. So it makes it really interesting. This is actually based on a really fascinating psychological study that was done, but I won't talk about that here. Okay, so again, this is all in the instructions, how that works. So then after the youth keep their hardship tokens, they grab their cards back, and then you go on to the next experience, 1 hardship token for that one, have the youth put their cards down, and you just keep going through the list. This is a list of experiences really happened on the march. All of these things really did occur. You see down here in this experience number 7, there are 2 parts. So you read the first part, you have the youth play their cards, distribute the hardship tokens like you would for the game. Then you read part 2. In part 2, it gets really interesting. This really happened, this instance with the horses. The people that complained in part 1 of this experience, they have to get 6 hardship tokens in this instance. So if you got a youth that's keeps putting complain and is getting pretty cocky that they aren't getting any of the hardship tokens, don't worry. Okay, So that's how it goes. You work through, there's 22 experiences that go in sequential order of the Zion's Camp March. And so you work through having them play their complain and commit cards. And again, it should be fun. It's informative. Yes, they can learn about Zion's Camp, some of the things that happen, but it should also be fun as they're sort of reacting to each of these experiences with a complain or a commit. And there's hard things. There are some miracles that happened on Zion's Camp. It's pretty extraordinary. When you get done with the experiences, then you move on to the game wrap-up. A couple things about the game wrap-up. You have some immediate questions you can ask if you want, like what did it feel when others complained and you didn't, right? You got the hardship tokens. What did that feel like? Because that's what it felt like at Zion's Camp. Everybody was suffering. Some people were complaining. Some people were not. You get just some other questions to kind of ask them about just thinking about that experience of Zion's Camp. And then you've got 4 more paragraphs here that just sort of wrap it up. It shows the history of what happened with people. Like some people, this was marked as a question mark for Joseph Smith as being a leader, as a prophet. For others, it was a testimony builder. So just some of the history here around the camp. So you can have the youth read those. The wrap-up continues. We know about famous people that were on Zion's Camp: Brigham Young, George Albert Smith, Wilford Woodruff. But I've got a list here of other winners, so to speak, in terms of the game. But these are real folks, men and women, that marched Zion's Camp and what their lives were at. And they were faithful members of the church to the end of their days. And so a little bit about each. If you've got a chance with the youth to just review some of these about folks that went on the Zion's Camp March and what their life was like after, to reference, it can be fun and informative and inspiring. And then finally, the last piece of closing it invites the youth to think about, what is our Zion's Camp today? What are we being called to do that allows us to experience that refiner's fire like they did in Zion's Camp? So I've got a quote from President Harold B. Lee, a scripture from the Book of Mormon that just sort of talks about that in our day, and then some questions for the youth to consider. So that's a big wrap up. That's on purpose. So that, look, you've got the entire time, and then you figure out what you want to do. Do you have to do all of this? Of course not. You can be really flexible. I would say if the game is taking longer, at least leave 5 minutes at the end to wrap it up in some sort, give the youth a chance to answer some questions and think about the experience. Don't play the game to the ultimate end. But if you get through the game part fast, I'm hoping there's enough content here in the wrap-up that you can have some really good discussion and do some other things around Zion's Camp as well. All right, appreciate so much what you guys do in Sunday school and being patient as we continue to try this new approach. Again, as I said in the earlier text, really prep with, use this as an opportunity to get to know the youth, how they think, what they like, and how they like to learn, right? This is an alternative method in terms of learning. So how does it go? What do you learn about the youth as you do this activity with them? All right, so looking forward to hearing how this goes. I experimented with a little bit with my kids, and it was incredibly fun. So I hope that's what it turns out on Sunday. Again, thanks again for all your help and contribution in Youth Sunday School.